The river did not keep him. It carried him far downstream, where the current slowed, and the morning was just beginning. Amma was at the river early. She saw it. A small bundle, caught at the root of a tree. She stepped closer, unwrapped it. A child. Alive. She called for Kofi. He came. They stood there, looking down at him. The river moved beside them. Quiet. Certain. People will ask. Kofi said. Amma nodded. Then let them ask. She answered. The river brought him. We will keep him. They wrapped the child, held him closer, and walked back to the village. Together. Far downstream. In a wealthier village. Kay was growing up. Kofi and Amma had told him early that he was adopted, that he had come to them by the river, which even as a child, Kay understood to be remarkable. He had never experienced the information as loss. He had nothing to compare his life to. He had two parents who loved him with the specific intensity of people who had waited for him without knowing they were waiting. That love was so constant and so complete that he moved through it the way you move through air, without thinking about it, simply because it was always there. He was a child who took to things quickly. Language, numbers, the patterns of trade. He followed his father Kofi through markets from an early age and asked questions that made Kofi pause. Not because they were too simple, but because they were not simple at all. Kay grew up settled in a way that people who have never had reason to doubt their welcome are settled, not arrogant. Settled, moving through the world without the low background anxiety of someone who is not sure they belong. He was also, by the time he was 20, someone people stopped to look at twice. Tall, present, with a laugh that started deep in the chest and spread all the way to the eyes. The kind of laugh that made everyone nearby feel, for its duration, that things were fundamentally going to be alright. Meanwhile, Amara had grown up in a household shaped by two forces: her father's quiet strength and her mother's carefully carried grief. Ada had never made her grief a burden on her daughter, but Amara was perceptive, the way children of grieving parents become perceptive. She could read the silences, notice when her mother went somewhere behind the eyes that was not the present room, feel the weight of the absence that lived in their home, like a family member who had never been introduced. She knew she had a brother. She knew he had disappeared when she was 3 days old. She knew her mother had never found an answer and had never fully recovered from not finding one. She carried this, the way children carry the things their parents cannot put down. It became part of who she was, what she was. By the time she was 20, was extraordinary, not simply beautiful, though she was, but made of something. Her father's steadiness, her mother's warmth, a directness that was not unkind, and a mind she was not afraid to use. She could work a farm all day and come home and still be the most alive person in the room. The village called her the eyes of the land. Then the famine came. The rain stopped. The ground cracked. Crops failed. Hunger settled over Ada's village, like something that had moved in and had no intention of leaving. Word reached them that the merchant village downstream still had food, grain, yam, dried fish, a full day's work each way. But hunger makes long roads feel short. Ada and Amora made the journey. Once, twice, then again. By the 9th visit, the road was familiar. The market stalls were familiar. The rhythms of the place were known. And it was on the 9th visit, on an ordinary morning, with her basket over her arm, that Ada looked up across the market and saw a young man she had never seen before. He was laughing, head thrown back, completely at ease, his whole body in it. Ada stopped walking. What happened in her chest in that moment was not something she could explain. It was not attraction. It was not recognition. She had never seen this man in her life. It was something older than both of those things. Something that lives below thought, below logic, in the body itself. A pull, a knowing. Her mouth opened. Before she knew she was going to speak, "Son." The word came out. The young man turned, looked at her with kind confusion, and walked away into the crowd. Ada stood there, while the market moved around her. She told herself it was grief. 20 years of grief makes the mind reach for things that are not there. But she came back, and she kept coming back. Not just for food. For him. She was looking for one thing. A crescent birthmark on the right shoulder. He always had his shirt on.